Now, how do you keep intimacy alive in a long-term relationship? Well, it's recently been revealed that more and more couples are beginning to plan their more intimate moments in advance.
But is scheduling sex helpful or harmful? We're joined by Vanessa Feltz, who thinks it's a great idea, and Nicola McLean, who says that she would consider divorce if it came to marking it all up on the calendar. Morning, both of you.
Morning.
Love and communication coach, this is Arnie Crow, I think he is, you pronounce it, has been married for 18 years and said scheduling is key to her relationship. She says we have sex as often as possible. We schedule it multiple times per week. Saturday and Sunday mornings are a must as well.
I must say, that sounds exhausting. Multiple times a week. What a hideous idea. I can't think of anything worse. Ghastly. But I also think that sex is one of these things that, in theory, you quite want to do. It's not like, you know, defrosting the freezer or exercising or something that you know is a real big fat drag. You're supposed to quite like sex. But very often when you talk to couples, or even when you think about yourself, you realise it's gone by the wayside, not because you didn't want to do it, but because other things got in the way. You had a headache, one of the children was ill, and somehow you realise another week's gone by, and in some cases another month has gone by, and then you think, when did we last have it? Oh, my God, was it last October? You didn't mean not to. You quite wanted to. You just didn't get round
It just sort of happened.
Yeah, and so I think, I'm not saying you have to adhere to this list as if it's a kind of, you know, a commandment from on high, but I mean, if you do say, in general, on a Thursday, when my mum looks after the kids, that would be a good time. Why is that a bad thing? I know it's not spontaneous, but at least it means you're making an appointment to...
Yes, well, let's see what Nicola thinks, because you believe, actually, by doing this, it kind of takes all the sexiness away.
It does, and I also think I'm a very disorganised person, which I know is hard to believe, but, you know, I am. And I find getting a hair appointment, hence the routes, really hard, let alone getting a D appointment. You know, I'm not having a D diary. It's not happening for me. Can you imagine, Tom, sit down, we have to get in this D diary when I'm going to do it every week. And then imagine I didn't fancy it, but I could tell he did. That would annoy me, and then I'd feel pressured, and then that would make me even... I was going to say something that I probably shouldn't on this show, so I won't.
You nearly said it already, but go on.
No, I knew what I was doing there.
Say it.
Yeah, no, it would make me feel very dry, and that wouldn't be good. And then, you know, I'd feel angry, and then I would want to divorce him.
So is it because
good.
it's enforced? It's almost as if it becomes enforced. It takes the pleasure out of it.
Say, for example, you were planning to go out to celebrate your birthday. You wouldn't just hope to get a table at the restaurant you like. You very probably would ring and plan it. Why could it not be possible to look forward to an appointment to enjoy, not an appointment that's foisted upon you that you don't like?
Don't you find, you know, when you've got like a romantic dinner plan, they always end up the worst ones, don't they? Like, if Tom and I just go out for lunch while the kids are at school, you know, if we have that luxury, we always have a laugh and a really nice time. I remember once we went for our anniversary dinner and he wanted to go home earlier than me, always the case. I was fuming. I did throw one of my brat tantrums. It's like, it's a lot of pressure, isn't it? Because you want it to be amazing.
If it's a different, not sort of saying, all right, we're going to schedule when we're going to have sex. Is it not just, we're actually going to make time for each other this week?
Yeah, that would be nice.
But isn't that the same thing?
Well, no, because I've seen Vanessa talking about this. Intimacy can be lots of different things. You can kiss and cuddle.
I agree with that. I said it. I agree with that.
Yeah,
Intimacy can be all sorts of different things.
And it all depends if you're both happy.
But I do think, you know, sex in general, I mean, with somebody that you're meant to love and is meant to love you and you're meant to quite like them and sort of vaguely fancy them when you remember it, is in general a nice thing. And it can be one of these things that it's quite hard to get yourself in a place where you begin to do it. But once you do, you remember why you liked it. I don't want to say back in the saddle, but it's that kind of thing. You think, oh, yes, sex, I did actually quite like that, 19, whenever it was, and I quite like it now. Also, afterwards, sense of closeness, you know, that feeling, that aftermath feeling, it's nice. If you can manage to just rev yourself up to be bothered, it is, you're always pleased you did it.
Is it the case that, you know, people lead very busy lives, and sometimes that's the kind of thing that falls by the wayside slightly, and actually that's really important in a relationship?
It is really important, but I think I just wouldn't want it to be scheduled. I'd feel I don't like feeling pressured with anything. It makes me...
Well, you schedule a holiday.
Exactly.
Well, I don't...
Schedule the car for an MOT.
Well, I don't do any of those things, and Tom doesn't tell me we're going on holiday till about 2 days before, because it makes me very annoyed.
But you know what I think? I think we've all watched...
You don't like surprises.
Don't you think we've seen, though,
surprises.
too many of those films where, you know, girl meets boy, girl looks at boy, you know, 1 minute later they're, you know, snatch each other's clothes off with their teeth and all of that, and you sort of think it ought to be like that. There's an ought to, but, you know, very often when you've known someone a while, it's not quite going to be
What
like
about
that.
sport? What about sport? 65% of people said they felt frisky after one-on-one sport, such as one of the examples, mini golf. Mini golf, tennis and badminton.
Whatever floats your boat.
57% said taking part in games with a competitive element made them more turned on than a romantic night. So sport is a
Nothing
turn
wrong with
on?
a game of Scrabble to get very sexy. I don't
What
know
about a game of
sport.
mini golf?
Oh, do me a favour. You burn off too many calories doing that. Don't have any energy for the sex. I'd rather have the sex than the sport.
My
Anytime.
house is too competitive. Can you imagine? Honestly, I've played mini golf with Tom and the two boys, and I honestly threw the club down and walked away because I couldn't get it in quick enough, like
Yeah.
the ball in.
about the golf.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
talking about the golf. Yeah, it took me too many shots, and then I got annoyed, and then the youngest was beating the oldest, so the oldest got annoyed, and then Tom got annoyed that none of us were good sports people, and it all ended up in a row. There was no sex after that.
Is also the problem that in a world of to-do lists, that this is just another thing to put on the list?
It
Would that not
is.
be more off-putting?
Couldn't it be the one that you look forward to, though? Like, the fun one, the one that's a nice one, the one that at least you have made time for. And that, in a way, is the first gesture towards intimacy that the two of you have said every third Tuesday or whenever there's an R in the month, why don't we get together in a sexy type of a way? Let's hope there'll be intimacy, fun, a good laugh, and that you will look forward to it instead of realising, hang on, when was the last time?
Yeah.
Nicola?
Yeah.
Not for me. As I say, if Tom said to me, let's do it on the third Thursday of every month, I'd be like, oh my God, I need to upgrade. I need to.
And
get
is
a
that
new
because
man.
you just would feel obliged to do it?
I would feel obliged, I would feel stressed out, and I would feel like it's just so not sexy. If Tom wants to do it on, particular times of the week, month, just let him make a mental note. And, we've been together long enough. He knows what to do for things to happen. Just don't tell me about it and spring it on me. I want some spice in my life.
Right, OK.
Well, Helen
enough.
says it's my favourite 30 seconds of the week. Jenna says, I think whatever works for you.
Totally.
Cass said it's not a good idea. It puts pressure on the partner to perform or be in the mood, which can't be good for a relationship. Spontaneity is best. Julie says all relationships are different, and as long as a couple are happy in what they do, then who are we to criticise? Thank you.
Very good. Thank you both. Thank
Thanks.
you very much.